Hey, what's up guys? So, let's talk about Attack on Titan, chapter 105. This chapter, holy crap, do I even need to say it? Like, these chapters have been crazy lately, but this one has left everyone in shock, thanks to the death of one of our main supporting cast, our beloved potato girl, Sasha. Now, let's be honest, we all knew that somebody was gonna die before this battle was over. And although everyone was kind of expecting that, I, like a lot of people, were still pretty surprised when it happened. I mean, everybody's been talking about who's gonna die next ever since Isayama hinted at it in a recent interview, and speculating that Gabi is gonna be the one to kill one of our characters with that rifle she's toting around. And lo and behold, it happened. In fact, you can watch my whole reaction to this chapter by clicking the link in the description below or the card. But anyway, let's get on to this review. Now in my reaction, unfortunately the source I had got my copy of the chapter from had been missing a couple pages. And as sad as this was when I first read it, these 2 pages make this moment even sadder. We see Sasha after she gets shot in the chest, eyes wide with shock. She bleeds out within a matter of minutes, and it's not even clear if she's aware of what just happened. Every one of our characters is devastated, and Eren is blamed for her death because of his reckless behavior. And in the last panel, we leave Eren in a moment of intense grief and possibly even regret. But as tragic as Sasha's death was, there is a lot more that needs to be discussed in this chapter. And the first thing we need to talk about is Eren. Based on what Levi said to him, and the fact that he kicked him in the face as soon as he saw him, as suspected, Eren has obviously done this without the rest of the Survey Corps' approval or support. Hanji also scolds him for abusing their trust, and at the end, Jean tells him that he's responsible for Sasha's death. It's clear that Eren has to face a lot of consequences for his actions during the last few chapters. All we can do is hope for his sake that it was all worth it. What exactly Eren's goal was, or Zeke's plan rather, it still isn't exactly clear. What we do know is that part of that plan was to fake Zeke's death to the Marley, and get him onto the blimp so they could take him back to Paradis with them. Zeke also states that they now have the power of the founding Titan, and one with royal blood. In my reaction, I joked that Zeke wasn't that special because they already had Historia, but you guys had a good point. Historia isn't a shifter, so I suppose we should assume that Zeke's Titan ability will have something to do with his ability to help Eren use the coordinate. Also, there's no chance they're going to bring their queen to the battlefield. But the question still remains. Apparently, this all really was Zeke's plan. So what exactly is he trying to do? As soon as the baseball mitt was introduced, I immediately had the feeling that Zeke and Eren were working together. I think it was pretty obvious to everyone that Zeke didn't die in that encounter with Levi. And as soon as I saw the blimp, I had a feeling that's where he was headed. And apparently, all of this, or at least most of it, was really all Zeke's plan. So what exactly is he trying to do? Like I've said before, I am convinced that Eren and Zeke are going to use the coordinate at some point. The question is how. And do they have the same goals when it comes to this immense, unlimited power? What could those goals be, and what could that mean for the future of the world? Well, I have a feeling after reading this chapter that Zeke, despite betraying the Marley, still really isn't totally loyal to either side. In fact, I get the sinking feeling that Zeke is actually manipulating and using Eren to accomplish his own goals, and actually has no real interest in what Eren or other people on Paradis actually want. I feel like Eren's demeanor changed a lot in this chapter as soon as he got around Zeke. Whatever has conspired between these two half-brothers, I think that it's safe to say that part of Eren was eager to connect with his older brother, especially after seeing his father's memories. And unfortunately for Eren, Zeke, being the very cunning character he appears to be, and also possibly a bit of a sociopath, I can definitely see Zeke unapologetically taking advantage of Eren. And I can totally see him justifying it with the endgame of finally freeing the Eldians. Now, given that Eren has been arrested, and also dealing with the disappointment and disdain he's getting from everybody else, it still seems to me that Eren may look up to, or even be intimidated by Zeke in some way. Possibly both. but we definitely know that Eren was operating very likely under Zeke's heavy influence. So, that's something to really keep in mind. Was this all Eren's choice? I mean, he chose to do it, but how much did Zeke influence him? And could he be manipulating Eren to accomplish his own goals? Another thing that really makes me question Zeke's loyalty to anybody is not only his continued fickleness throughout the story, but also this devotee that was finally revealed in this chapter to be the mystery person who trapped Pike and Galliard. I'm sorry, Piek? Is that how you're supposed to pronounce it? Whatever. What I found really suspicious is that Elena, the name of the devotee, failed to contain these two, despite being an experienced Marley soldier. And from her lack of emotion or care that she failed in her mission, it seems to me like Zeke may have instructed her to make it easy for them to escape on purpose. For what reason he would want to do this, I don't know. Why he would want to make it more difficult for the Survey Corps and Eren to accomplish their mission is hard to say, but this is Zeke we're talking about. Then again, it's only because Galliard was able to escape that Eren was able to eat and inherit the Warhammer Titan. So maybe that too was all part of Zeke's plan, because he probably already knew that there was no way the Warhammer Titan would be defeated by Eren unless the Jaw Titan was there on the battlefield somehow. And Zeke, being as smart as he apparently is, possibly foresaw Galliard getting angry and charging at Eren, causing this scenario. After all, Galliard is pretty predictable and impulsive, and Zeke knew this. All of this makes me feel very uneasy about everything that's transpired over the past several chapters. It seems to me like things may be even bleaker than they seemed before. This disagreement between Eren and the Survey Corps appears to be that Eren wanted to attack Marley and retrieve Zeke in order to secure their ability to defend themselves with the coordinate if and when the time came that the world decided to move against them. While everyone else probably wanted to wait to find another strategy, Eren, though, being Eren, decided to go forward by himself, despite the risks and potential high cost, in order to gain the upper hand over Marley and the rest of the world. I believe that Eren's resolve to carry out his quest after discovering the truth of the world was both catalyzed and reinforced by the flood of memories from Kruger and his father. And there's no telling how many other memories and flashbacks he's experienced from the lives of these two, or Freda, or even any other holders of the Attack or Founding Titan in the past, during the past 4 years, that has fueled his drive to make this choice. In this chapter, Levi tells Eren that everything is as he believed. We still aren't sure exactly what Levi meant by that, but I can only assume that he's referring to the fact that the whole world was getting ready to mobilize against Paradis, thus making it necessary to take desperate measures in order to protect themselves, which was proven when Willie declared war in front of the world's audience. Unfortunately for Eren, he was the only person who could truly and literally see the situation in the way that he could with these memories. No matter how much he tries to explain, the fact is, no one can understand his perspective because no one else has experienced what he's experienced. Now, all anyone can do is wait and see if Eren was right in his choice. Alright, now that we're done with all that heavy shit, let's move on to a few other important points in this chapter. The next thing I want to talk about is everyone's favorite character. You know who I'm talking about. That was sarcasm, in case you couldn't tell. And that was also sarcasm. But anyway, there's a moment on the blimp when the Survey Corps are celebrating the success of their attack. And guess who's right smack in the middle of it? Raving about the new Eldian Empire like a maniac. Our best buddy Flock. This scene really made me cringe. I mean, nothing about this new Eldian Empire sounds like a good idea. From the looks of it, it seems like Flock has decided to take the role of homicidal asshole who didn't learn shit. As insufferable as this character is, his presence among our characters is important. And Isayama said himself that Flock was going to have an important role to play. I think in this chapter, we got our first glimpse of exactly what that role is going to be. Which makes me wonder, now that we're probably going back to Paradis Island for the first time after this 4-year time skip, I really wonder what's going on there. What all has changed? How much is different now? Specifically, what might have become of the wall cult after the truth was revealed? Assuming the Survey Corps decided to share it with the public, I think the wall cult's presence on Paradis Island likely either became irrelevant or evolved into a completely new belief system, which may or may not have grown in popularity. But based on what Flock was saying, there does seem to be a new ideology growing within Paradis Island, or rather, the comeback of an old one. To me, this is really scary. It's just another example of history constantly repeating itself. It just makes me feel like no matter what our characters do, they're constantly going to be trapped within this loop of destruction, with no chance of getting out. And that's a really scary thought. Another thing are the walls themselves. Are they still standing? We know that 3 years ago, when our characters finally reached the ocean, that the Survey Corps were finally able to wipe out all the remaining mindless Titans on Paradis Island. So the only real reason to keep the walls now are as a defense from other nations. However, with the rise of aircrafts, the walls are pretty much useless now. So, could it be possible that the walls came down over the past 4 years? Could Eren have learned how to use those Titans that have been in those walls? And someone else pointed out something in the comments that I didn't really consider before. These colossal titans in the walls have been there the entire time the walls have been standing. And remember, they used to be people. That makes me wonder, what exactly did they experience? Did they decide to become these wall titans voluntarily, or were they forced into this? What all did they know, and how much could we potentially learn from them? If the possibility ever arose that you could cure someone from being a titan, if that became possible, it would almost be like unfreezing somebody who's been trapped in ice for 100 years. Imagine what all we could learn from one of the people inside these titans. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about Gabi and Falco. What's gonna happen to these two now? They jumped on that blimp, leaving Colt behind on the ground, killed Sasha, and now have been captured by the Survey Corps, and are on their way back to the island with the rest of our crew. Now I think it's safe to say it would be too risky to try dropping them back off on the mainland safely, nor could they, since they've already seen Zeke is still alive and working with the Survey Corps. And John made it clear that he wasn't okay with killing them. So how are our characters going to deal with these two? Being that Gabi and Falco are just kids, I can't imagine our characters treating them in the same way they would if an adult had done it. But I can also imagine in their grief, wanting some kind of retribution or punishment for Sasha's death. However, it seems most of the blame has already been directed towards Eren. Are the Survey Corps just going to bring the kids back to the island? It seems at this point they don't really have a choice. So what will happen from there? Is Gabi still intent on killing Eren and as many of the other Survey Corps members as she can? Or will they be able to convince Gabi that they aren't actually so different? As I mentioned in a video I made about Eren and his motivations for doing this, I think it will be really interesting when Gabi and Eren finally talk and confront each other, which I'm guessing we'll get to see next chapter. It'll be interesting for Gabi to see these people who she thinks of as devils experience and express grief, and for Eren to see how much Gabi is like him when he was younger. As for everyone hating Gabi, to be honest, I'm really interested to see where her character development is going, and I can't personally be mad at her because I can't really blame her. I mean, she's pretty much got the same disposition as Eren did in the very beginning of the manga, although her goals and motivations are quite a bit different. She's seeking to prove to the world that Eldians aren't all bad. But Eren doing what he did made all of her efforts completely pointless. Not to mention the fact that he wrecked her whole town and got two of her best friends killed. And yeah, she did kill Sasha, but Sasha made the choice to spare her life earlier. If she hadn't have done that, Gabi and Falco never would have gotten up on that blimp, and she'd still be alive. But would that really have been better? I honestly can't imagine Sasha being the kind of person who would shoot a little kid. And I'm glad that she's not. So, should she have shot Gabi back there? I don't know. But it is sad to see her go. Sorry, Sasha. We'll always remember all the laughs that you gave us, and how you always managed to make everyone hungry. So, farewell, Sasha. Rest in potatoes. In conclusion, this chapter was definitely one of the most hard-hitting chapters in recent memory. And although I am sad about Sasha, I'm definitely not as sad as I was when I thought Armin was gonna die. But I'm really gonna miss her. And I really feel bad for Connie. They were like BFFs. Alright, so here's some questions for you guys. How did you react to Sasha's death? Were you really sad? Or did you not really care that much? And what do you think of this Zeke devotee? Seems like every time we're waiting a while for a mystery character to be revealed, it's just some random person. Like the Warhammer Titan being Willie at first and then his nameless sister. Okay, maybe that's just one example. But anyway, do you agree that there's something a little bit shady about her? I mean, Zeke's already really shady, so I can only imagine that anybody dedicated to him is going to reflect that same kind of deceptiveness. Do you guys agree that she might have made it easy for Pike and Galliard to escape on purpose? Or does she just suck at following instructions? I mean, come on, Elena. You had one job. Next, what do you guys think is going to happen between Armin and Eren? It's clear that something has come between these two childhood friends, and unfortunately I can only see them growing further apart, especially with Zeke in the picture now. And what about Zeke and Levi? It's clear that they still hate each other, so maybe we'll get that second epic Levi versus Beast Titan battle after all. And what do you guys think is going to happen next? Now that everyone's on that blimp and escaping back to Paradis Island, I think it's safe to say that it's gonna be time to find out what all actually led up to this happening, and where our characters plan to go from here. And I'm so glad we're finally gonna get to see that. But what about all of our other characters left in Marley? I mean, poor Colt was just left standing there, watching Gabi and his little brother fly away to some scary island with the enemy. That's gotta be terrifying for anybody. And we've got Pike, Galliard, and Reiner still here, and also Captain Maggoth. What are they all gonna do after this? I think it's safe to say that Marley are going to go through with their plan to attack Paradis Island. Not only will they likely seek revenge, but they've got 2 children that have been captured by them. So maybe we are gonna bring the final battle back to Paradis. Alright guys, so that's it for my Attack on Titan Chapter 105 review. Tell me what you thought of this chapter in the comments, and let me know if you think I missed anything. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and check out my Patreon if you want to help support this channel. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. And I have to say, as sad as it was, I felt like it was such a bizarre, almost cheeky way for Sasha to go. But at the same time, I can't see her going out any other way. I mean, she loved food, so of course her last word's gonna be meat.